If you want to speed up your fat loss because you are fed up of feeling stuck and in the same position every single Monday, then you need to understand how to manage your weekend socials. And this is one of the biggest disruptors when it comes to losing body fat effectively. If you are someone who does great in the week, but you blow it all out at the weekend, then this episode is for you. I'm going to be running through the mindset and the strategy that will help you enjoy your weekend socials without sabotaging your fat loss goals. Now, first and foremost, I'm not saying that you have to lock yourself in the house and stop seeing your friends if you want to lose body fat. Personally, I eat out every single week, multiple times, and so do my clients. But there is a difference between those who lose fat efficiently over time and those who get stuck for weeks on end. And ultimately, when it comes to losing body fat, you want to get in and out as quickly as possible, because the longer you spend trying to lose weight, your progress is slow, you get stuck every few weeks. This is only going to leave you frustrated. And though you may be in that calorie deficit Monday to Friday, if you're then over consuming at the weekends, your overall energy balance is going to be skewed, and you're never going to be in that prolonged calorie deficit for enough time to actually see the body fat come off. And even if you are reducing your calories Monday to Friday, you shouldn't really then reward yourself at the weekend to just go all out because you've been good that week. This is something I see a lot, and unfortunately it leads a lot of women to go into that all or nothing mindset trap. And this is something that I'm so passionate about helping women overcome. And through solid mindset work and education, you can still eat out every single week and still see successful fat loss. Because fat loss doesn't require perfection, it requires consistency. And honestly, the habits and choices you make whilst you lose body fat should be integrated all year round. Because if you only ever jump into your health and fitness journey when you're trying to lose weight, you're never going to be able to sustain that fat loss forever. So firstly, what I want you to think about is, how are your actions aligned with your goals? Because if the goal is fat loss, but your action is, I'm going to eat and drink whatever the fuck I want, there's probably going to be a disconnect. And there will be some people out there who can get away with eating more calories. They do have a really strong relationship with food. But I know from my own experience and working with hundreds of women, not everybody is like that. And actually, it takes a lot of time to go through the mindset, the strategy, the education, so you can finally have that balance and find peace with yourself. But sometimes we just need to be realistic. Especially if you are a smaller female or you're not actually that active, then likely your maintenance calorie needs aren't going to be super high. And when it comes to the weekends and you're eating out, you're grazing on more snacks, you're not taking into account liquid calories, unfortunately these little bits can add up very quickly without you realizing. So you need to understand how to align your choices with your desired outcome. And this leads me on to another great mindset consideration, which is delayed gratification. And this is the ability to resist the temptation of an immediate reward in favor of a more desirable reward, which comes later on. Now, fat loss will not happen overnight, so don't expect huge changes even if you have one weekend in alignment. But the little choices you make every week, every day, that align with your goals, they will start to stack up. And actually building this resilience, and you have the ability to resist temptation for that immediate dopamine, it can really help you long term. And this doesn't even apply to just fat loss. This applies to most areas in life. And when it comes to thinking about those delayed gratifications, it might mean that in the moment you do have to say no to something. And actually having the confidence to do this is a skill. Something that I hear a lot with the women I work with is that they're often afraid to decline an offer because they don't want to accept the other person. Maybe your mum offers to order a takeaway, or your friend wants a glass of wine and she asks you to have one with her. And I'm not saying that you have to say no to all of these occasions, but if those choices don't align with your goals or actually what you want, then this is where I don't want you to be afraid to stand your ground. And this is something I've personally nailed over the years, because I used to be a massive people pleaser. I used to give in to peer pressure. I used to do things because I didn't want to be the boring one out. But when I look back, all those little things were adding up, which in the long term made me lose my self-confidence. I gained a lot of weight. I didn't feel myself anymore. And now I'm really confident with just saying no to things I don't want to do. And something else I see a lot is that we're just not honest with who we're around. It's like we're afraid to tell people we want to lose body fat. We're afraid to tell people that we want to eat healthier. We're trying to go on this journey. But being vocal about your goals, telling your friends you don't quite feel confident and you want to make these changes, telling your family that you are on a fat loss journey. If the people around you don't know why you're making these choices, then it's going to make your life a lot harder too. And when you are open and honest about your goals and what you're trying to achieve, when you say no, it's not going to make you feel bad. You're not going to look rude or boring or obsessive. You are just being true to yourself, and you're not giving into peer pressure that doesn't serve you. And the more people that know that around you, the more people that will stop asking. They'll stop peer pressuring you. They'll understand why you're making these choices. And actually, you might influence them to do the same. And even if your friends or your family aren't on that same journey, that's okay, because your life isn't there. And then when those times come that you do want to say yes, it will make it feel so much more special, so much more enjoyable, knowing that you're doing it out of a place of love, not hate. So now that's the mindset locked in, let's talk tactics. Because I want you to end this video feeling in control of how to stay aligned with your fat loss goals while still having weekend socials. And the first thing you need to understand when it comes to fat loss is your own body's calorie needs. Now, you can roughly work this out with an online calculator, but ultimately getting clued up on this through tracking it yourself for at least a couple of weeks is going to be beneficial. Now, as I spoke about at the start, going out for meals, having alcohol, having those extra picky bits, they add up very quickly. And something I will always bat on about to my clients is planning ahead. And that's why in our weekly check-ins, I always ask them, what social events have you got coming up, so we can help navigate them together. So if you know that you're going out on the Saturday night, firstly think about how you want to approach this outing. Is it just a casual lunch with friends? Is it your bestie's birthday? Is it a weekend away with your partner? Firstly, just understand how you want to approach it, because a lot of outings we can just manage very easily on the day and still be within our calorie deficit. But if the outing is a little bit more special, you want to indulge a little bit, you're going to be eating out multiple times a day, then that's absolutely fine, but it's planning ahead how to approach it. And once you know that, then you can start to reverse engineer how you're going to tackle the week before. Especially if you do have a few outings throughout the whole week, then you don't have to say no to everything, but I would advise picking your indulgences so you don't end up over consuming by accident every single time. So like I said, if it's a bit more special, you want to have a cocktail with your bestie, you go into a really nice restaurant and you think the burger and chips looks amazing, then what I recommend is just logging those indulgences before the week starts and just working around, okay, where is this going to set me back? Some other really handy tips that I do look for as well when I'm planning ahead is checking out the menu before, deciding what you're going to have before you go, pre-tracking those meals in, making smarter swaps at the restaurant, like asking for sauce or dressing on the side, choosing grilled or steamed options rather than fried, minimizing liquid calories, just sticking to one plate rather than having a starter and dessert. Going in with a plan instantly removes that decision fatigue, that temptation, that accidental overconsumption. And if you want my full eating out and tracking guide, which has a lot more tips on it, then I'll leave it in the comments below for you. Now, something else that can be quite useful as well is the concept of calorie cycling, which is having higher and lower calorie days. So if you've been invited out on a Saturday, you're going out for a meal, you want to have a glass of fizz because your bestie's just got engaged, rather than stressing about straining below that 1700 calories, what you can do is stick to, say, 1500 calories Monday to Friday. That will allow you to then have a little bit more flexibility on the Saturday. So say that your calories do end up going over 2000. In the grand scheme of things, that's not going to make a huge difference, and it will likely still put you into that moderate deficit. Now, the problem that I see with calorie cycling is that some people just take it too extreme and you eat ridiculously low Monday to Friday and then unnecessarily overconsume at the weekend just because you can. But in my opinion, this often just promotes unsustainable behavior. And as a female, it can skew your hormone balance, your energy, your mood, your digestion. Because if you're eating too low 5 days a week, you're not going to be feeling your best when you go into the weekend, which is then going to probably have an impact on your adherence levels when you go into it. So whilst calorie banking for the weekend is fine, I wouldn't take it too extreme. And instead, it's still treating your weekends like you would your weekdays in terms of your choices and your actions. But with a little reduction during the week, it will just ease that stress of when you do go out. And just as a final reminder to round up this episode, even if things don't go to plan, because they won't, then the next day, just get back to normal. Move your body, resume your calories as normal, don't overcompensate. If you indulge over a weekend and it happens once in a blue moon, that is not going to have an impact on your overall progress. But if you are overindulging every weekend, that might. But this is where the mindset and strategy that I've just been talking about really comes into play. Your weekends don't need to be a hindrance to your fat loss. They can still be enjoyed as part of your fat loss journey if you learn how to navigate them. It's about making choices that serve both your goals and your lifestyle. I have loved this episode so much, and it's definitely something that I'm so passionate about. And if you would like to go deeper into the education and the strategy of how you can lose body fat without giving up your weekend socials, then I would love to invite you to join my one-to-one coaching, where you will be guided with clear, proven strategy and realistic methods like I've spoken about to help you build a routine, build a body, and build a mind that you love, and it gives you energy, strength, and unstoppable freaking confidence. I will leave any links in the comments below, so feel free to have a look, get in touch with me, and I'll see you in the next video.